All right, so FEMA may be a thing of the past just as we're entering into hurricane season here in Florida. What does that mean for you as a homeowner? Well, let's get into it. Okay, so earlier it was announced this year after the presidency that they're going to be trying to get away or do away with FEMA. And if you're not aware, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they're normally there to help pick up the pieces of the puzzle or fill in the gaps wherever your insurance company cannot or is unwilling to cover. So they're normally there from the federal government to help us out when we're recovering from any type of natural disasters or catastrophes, as I'm pretty sure you all are aware have been pretty consistent over the last couple of years, especially here in Florida. Before I get into this statement about FEMA, I actually want you guys to take a look at what this journalist here in Florida had to say regarding some of the budget cuts and how they're going to affect us here in the state of Florida.
Listen, I've been on this, since 8 o'clock this morning on social media, and there is a lot of anxiety out there because you don't see it turning, right? When is it going to turn? John, it's not turning. It's coming straight to us. It's going to turn, all right? The turn was never forecast to be on Sunday. The turn isn't even on Monday morning. The turn will come Monday afternoon, Monday evening, into Tuesday. Remember that? That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. Lots of people in Florida were concerned the hurricane was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you, it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I'm not sure I can do that this year because of the cuts, the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country, all right? But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed? From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. First of all, shouts out to John Morales over there in South Florida for being able to, I guess, keep our people safe down there in South Florida by accurately predicting what was going to happen with Hurricane Dorian. But as you can see, he just pointed out right here that that because of the cuts to NOAA, which I'm not sure if you all are aware, when it comes to filing claims, NOAA is one of the key resources that are normally used to be able to fight on your behalf when public adjusters, attorneys, loss consultants like myself, or roof companies, anybody who's going to fight on your behalf, normally we would use these reports to go along with other evidence to be able to prove your claim so that you can get approved. Well, when these cuts come to NOAA, it's going to be a little bit harder for us to be able to use those documentation or use that documentation accurately to be able to help you out when it comes to approving your claim. But let's see what it says here. So he says at the first topic, says Central and South Florida, the National Weather Service is now 19 to 39% understaffed, meaning that there's going to be a lot less people available to be able to even accurately predict the weather, meaning that when it comes time for a storm or to prep for a storm, which I know a lot of Floridians don't like to prep for a storm or like to, casually brush off any hurricane that comes by our way. But when it is something that's serious, as we just saw, what happened in Texas, if it is something that we're not able to be informed in enough time, then that is definitely going to cause, unfortunately, more casualties and more property damage that could have been avoided otherwise without these cuts. But let's see what else he has to say.
This type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon launches that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind. And we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline.
Wow. Now, just imagine, he's talking about they're not able to go ahead and send the planes out to be able to, I guess, accurately measure the hurricanes and get as much information as possible when they come. So just imagine, we just had Hurricane Ian hit a couple of years ago. And anybody in Southwest Florida that saw that, I saw it firsthand. It literally looked like a bomb went off throughout the entire city. It was the craziest thing to see up close and in person and face to face. So even though we were out there, helping out homeowners out on that side of the coast, it was still disheartening to see. Now imagine if these homeowners were not able to mitigate some of that damage by properly preparing, because we did see a number of homeowners that were able to, protect themselves as much as possible, as much as you can, from the hurricane, just because they were able to properly prepare in advance, or to put up the storm windows, or the storm, the storm windows, or the storm, or put up the plywood, I'm losing the name of it, but the guards that go across the windows. Because people were able to properly prepare for it, they were able to mitigate some of that damage. Now, if the weatherman can't do his job, right, which normally we defer our information, or we make judgments based off of what the professionals, people that dedicate their lives to doing this, normally we take their word over just whatever we believe, just because, at the end of the day, they're the ones that study this. So if they are not able to do their job accurately, then we are not able to be able to make decisions based off of accurate information, which I'm pretty sure you can tell as our storms have been getting worse, not just here but nationwide. We're going to need the most amount of accurate information that we can get in order to be able to make the best decisions for not only ourselves but our family as well. All right, but now we're going to move on to the next topic. Now we're going to find out, now after a hurricane or after a storm hits, so now how are we able to put the pieces of the puzzle back together, right? Normally, we're going to call, or we're going to work with the insurance company. In our case, we're going to work with the insurance company to make sure that everything gets covered. However, you and I both know that insurance companies do tend to take quite a long time before they even get out there to your house to inspect it, or if they are able to get it inspected, to get everything resolved is normally not just a simple process. Either they'll underpay your claim, so you're not even able to find a contractor to get anything done, especially after a hurricane. It's normally just massive amounts of other contractors coming from out of state. You don't know who to use, who to talk to, who's giving you accurate information. So in the meantime, while you're dealing with the insurance company, normally who's there to help you pick up the pieces of the puzzle is going to be FEMA. So let's see what's now happening now that FEMA is going to be cut significantly and not going to be there to be able to help us.
New this morning, several FEMA employees are on leave after sending a letter to Congress warning lawmakers about recent changes. The letter is titled Katrina Declaration, warned about the possibility of failures similar to the hurricane's aftermath. Nearly 200 current and former FEMA workers signed and sent that letter on Monday. The Associated Press reports 35 workers signed their names to the document. 141 signed anonymously for fear of being punished. In the letter, FEMA employees accused the Trump administration of weakening the agency's response capabilities and appointing unqualified leadership. The letter also argues reforms since Katrina are being unraveled. Both CNN and AP report that some of those workers received a notice saying they're placed on leave indefinitely. In June, the president announced plans to phase the agency out after hurricane season.
Wow. So hurricane, that is crazy. Wow. So after Hurricane Katrina, one of the largest natural disasters in our current history right now here in the U.S., I think it was almost 1,800 people that have died, or casualties, if I'm not mistaken. They're still dealing with that 20 years later today. right? Insurance companies, FEMA, etc., are still dealing with this today. Now imagine how many people are going to be devastated if something like that were to happen today, now because they're getting rid of FEMA. As you just saw, they did mention that some of the employees, the people that work there, came out speaking about it, saying that they don't have enough, or that getting rid of FEMA is going to cause significant impacts, or negative impacts, should I say, on our communities. Now, if they get rid of that, what's going to happen? Who's going to be there to help you out when you actually need it, right? Regardless if they're 100% effective, even if they're 50% effective at doing their job, that's still 50% more people getting helped, you understand, versus zero. So if that's the case, then I believe it would be in our best interest to try to see what we can do to be able to maintain FEMA, because contractors like us, or like myself, or like or loss consultants as well, we have been able to complete jobs and be able to help out homeowners much quicker due to FEMA being there to be able to pick up the pieces of the puzzle, or to fill in the gaps between when the insurance company wants to decide to finally kick in versus FEMA. So I believe right now where we're heading to right now with FEMA, with hurricane season, I'm not sure, guys. You all let me know down in the comments below what you guys are going to do, because I believe we are going to be headed into something that none of us are going to be prepared to deal with. It's only going to exacerbate any issues that we already may have. We are still technically cleaning up from Hurricane Ian, Hurricane Michael up there in the Panhandle. Hurricane Irma was my first one dealing with this business that I'm in right now. And I will let you know that, yes, even with this intact, it is still a long process. It's still a headache, regardless, for everyone involved. Now imagine if you take that resource away. Yeah, it's not going to be fun. So that's all I have for you guys today. Once again, my name is Brett with the Roof and Solar Pros. Let me know if you guys would like some more current events and how it pertains to homeowners and homeowners here, more specifically here in Florida. If you would, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you do like the video. Share it with somebody if you think that this is some information that could be used, or that they haven't heard and that they could use. As well, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be sure to share some more information that will help you guys out.